Hi guys, welcome to Pitch Report. This is me, Vishnu, and hey JS. We are here on a brand new episode on a brand new sport that we're going to be covering today. It's going to be basketball, and we're going to be discussing today about one of the modern greats of the basketball game. He's so good at what he does that whenever I say the position that he plays in, your mind automatically goes to that player. So we're going to be talking about CP3, who's commonly known as point guard, not point guard. We'll be seeing what happened with him and the Clippers team. Why was he let out of the team, and what's the reasoning behind it? Let's dig deep into the story behind it. And over to you, G.
So, as you said, he is one of the greatest players of all time, and he's so good that, so spoiler alert, he's about to retire this season. And once 2 years pass by after his retirement, he would be eligible to enter the Hall of Fame. And the second he's eligible, he would be picked in the first ballot. He is that great. And as you said, he is the point guard. The position he plays in is very predictably point guard. And he is such a good dimer of the basketball. Like he can pass, he can score, he can do everything you would want in him. Of course, he is in the twilight of his career, so he has played 21. This is 21st year in the league, and he's predictably fallen off from his prime. But before we go into his current scenario, let us just take a look at his career with the Clippers in his first tenure. So he initially played with the Los Angeles Clippers during the years 2011 and 2017. So that's about 6 years, right? And he was phenomenal with the franchise. He led the league in assists twice. He led the league in steals thrice. He was in the All NBA first team thrice, and he has been in the All Defensive first team 6 times. So he is that great of a defender at just 6 feet. So in context, the players who play point guard are usually short, and even within that range, he is really, really short. He's just 6 feet when an average NBA player would be about 6'7" or 6'8". Despite his low frame and his size, he has made the all defensive team every single time of his year. He had been a consistent performer in his tenure. So if you look at the franchise itself, right, like where he ranks in a few of these stats. So he is first all time in assists for the Los Angeles Clippers, and he led the team to their best ever record, which is 57 and 25. I've said the background for his tenure with the Clippers. He's since gone on to a few other teams. He's come back to his home for what would eventually be his final season as just like a free agent veteran signing. So he was expected to be like the fag and bench player, right? That is
Yeah.
what the organization wanted him to be. But the Clippers of current day, there are no real vocal leaders in the squad. So they hoped he could provide his inputs and his value like that as well. So he was also very thrilled to be back with the team. And then once he started to play in the preseason, they started to see that he's still not yet completely washed. Like he can still play. So his role was sort of uplifted from, just being that vocal leader or just like a veteran signing to
Yeah.
actually being like an impact player to be brought on to the lineup sometimes, scoring, assisting, and such like that, right? Before we go on any more into the story, like just try to imagine Chris Paul as Suresh Raina and LA Clippers as CSK. Or if you're a football fan, Chris Paul is Thierry Henry and the Clippers are like Arsenal. So just keep that in the back of your mind while I try to tell the story and try to relate it based on that, right?
I know.
So
Before that, when you said, he returned to the Clippers, he started with the Clippers, his home side, and after a while of traveling here and there, and he returned back. My mind, as a cricket addict, my mind went straight to Ravi Ashwin. He
Ravi
started
Ashwin,
his
yeah,
he started his journey with Chennai, his hometown. He went elsewhere. He became the goat of Indian cricket as a bowler as well in all his facets. And then he returned back to Chennai, where he retired now. So even in this last IPL season, there were some conflicts between him and this organization. He was the head of director before he joined the second tenure with CSK. But then after just 1 year, management released him. He retired, and he himself resigned from post of head of cricketers from CSK. So when you said about this story, my mind automatically went to Ravi Ashwin. So
mine did as well. But I specifically mentioned Suresh Raina because Raina is arguably the greatest player of CSK's history.
CSK franchise.
Andre
Yeah,
is almost definitely the greatest player of Arsenal's history. And in
yeah,
that
correct.
similar vein, Chris Paul is undoubtedly the greatest player of the Clippers franchise history. I think
But I
CP3
do
means
agree. The
even more
most
to the
CSK.
Clippers, yeah,
Yeah,
than
I do
what
agree.
Ashwin means to CSK.
Yeah, Suresh Raina is to CSK is proportionate to Chris Paul to
Yeah,
Clippers.
yeah. The mentality wise, you can compare Ashwin and Chris Paul pretty similar because they both are vocal. They both have their criticisms, their opinions. They are not shy to share any
Correct.
sort of
Yeah,
feedback they have to their teammates or their opponents or anything like that. Like Suresh is more sort of calm, more
yeah.
subtle about his way of
Cute
going.
little guy.
Yeah, cute little guy, but CP3, there's like nothing cute about him. He's just straightforward. He goes about his business. But the franchise which knows most about his tendencies is the Clippers. So just keep that in mind while I tell you the story. The Los Angeles Rams play their games in LA. He had a suit in that field and he called his teammates and coaches immediately. Like as soon as he signed, he called them to that suit. He organized sort of like a mini party there. They watched the game together. This was all like a team building exercise. Like he wanted to acclimate himself back into this organization, back with the new players who are in the squad right now, and with the coaches as well. So, and in the press conference, he was like pushed forth as this vocal leader. He was going to be the core glue guy. And then when preseason came on, he again exceeded his expectations within the organization, like what role he was supposed to play. He was again supposed to be this not even like a bench guy, just like a vocal presence within the
Okay,
team, like
more
just more like a mentor involved within the coaching staff
yeah.
sort of thing. But he eventually turned out to be an impact player. He carved that out for himself. And one thing which also helped was that there were a lot of injuries within the squad. So his role was elevated even more. The issues actually started to seep up even before the first game of the season. So he had initially told the team that he would provide his inputs as a coach or and like an assistant coach or something like that because he has vast experience in his 21 years of playing in the league. And this was all agreed upon before he joined, but once he joined and he actually started to implement it, so he saw like a couple of young players sort of shooting the shots in a wacky way. So he went on, he expressed his concerns regarding that. He told maybe you could incorporate different sort of plays, all that. And those plays, instead of taking the criticism on their stride, or this was not even a criticism, right? This was just like constructive feedback. They took it as a slight to their game and they went and complained to the management. The management then came back to CP3 saying you're too dismissive of these players and you're being too harsh and critical on them. Just stop it or tone it down a little bit. So these issues sort of started even before the first game. After the first game, which was a very bad, very, very bad loss to a very bad team, the team was all silent in the locker room. So he wanted to initiate the talk, like what went wrong. Let's just go over this. What went wrong? Where all we lagged? What all we could have done to maybe put our team in better positions to win the game. And he got literal silence from the team. This has been the team for a long time. Like they don't really talk it out. They don't really have those vocal presences in the locker room to address what went wrong, what issues they have. And he tried to be that. He tried to force sort of get push the team up, get each and every person's POV as to what could have gone better, and all he got was crickets. So this was the very first game of the season. Then then like 2 or 3 games passed by. They seem to be a decent team. Like they win a couple of games and all that. So after one win, he organizes a party in the and stadium. His wife and he organized the Halloween party, team building exercise, right? A total of 3 players attended the party. No assistant coach or nobody else attended the party. No one was really serious about any of this team building. They were all in their own worlds. This was despite them, having won a few games here and there. But after that, they went on a humongous losing streak. They barely won anything. And during that, 3 of those losses came to CP3's previous, like couple of his previous spots.
Francis.
Those two have superstars who he has played with, who he knows a lot about, and their teams who are good right now, and he knows all about both of the teams, and he knows their culture, their superstars, and how they operate, what their weaknesses could be. So he felt like they could have gotten his expertise a little bit. I guess expressed it in his way of expressing it, which is being a little bit critical about it. That again rubbed the entire management, entire coaching staff wrong. So they sort of omitted him from the rotation immediately. For the next 5 games, he got DNP's coach's decision, which means the coach did not just play him at all, even though there were a lot of injuries back then. This all happened around November 2nd. For the next 1 month, he did not have a conversation with his coach because his coach would just outright refuse to talk to him. That's how toxic the environment had become, especially like between the head coach and CP3. So again, CP3 took in stride, unlike his teammates and his coaches and assistant coaches.
Yes.
Unlike his peers, he took it in stride. He apologized. He stood up in front of the entire squad. Being the most senior member in the squad, he stood up. He owned his mistakes. He said, "If I was being too harsh or too critical, just forgive me, and let's hope we can just go on better routes." But the team just kept on losing even after getting their star player back, even after CP3 was added to the rotation. It was just very, very toxic. So
Yeah, things didn't just click. Yeah, I mean,
just click
I
at
can
all.
understand that. Being from a player's perspective, what it does to a CP3's mindset as well. So you can say all that you want. As a senior guy who's seen everything around the world, wherever he plays, he's been a legend of the game. To be treated in such a way that nobody shows up to your party, nobody listens to you anymore, and nobody's valued, you're not valued at the organization, so it takes a toll on you. But even though you put on a brave face, but yeah, it's somewhere it does take a toll, right? So I
Exactly.
think
Yeah.
that's yeah, I think that also reflects on the mat.
Yeah. So as you said, he's been a winning player so much so that like up until this particular season, every other season he's managed to elevate his team to higher wins than the previous season. If he's gone to a new team, he's managed to elevate that from like a fringe uh, playoff team to real contender. He has always been a winning player. So obviously, this amount of losing will rile up anyone who has been that
Whose
influential and
standards is that
that
high?
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He has never won a ring. That is a big slight in his career, but I don't feel that it is a slight to him at all because he has done everything possible to win one ring or win a championship. But it is just that the other circumstances didn't fall in place during his prime, and he really didn't have those caliber of teammates either. His opposition was also like unassailable during that time. So it's not a slight on
So
him at all, but
basically, he's ABD of RCB.
ABD of RCB, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, he's been winning like every single team he's gone to has won a lot without winning the actual championship, except
uh,
for this Clippers, like the
yeah.
last tenure this year. Uh, so on the November 22nd, he announces that he's going to retire from the game after this year. So the team wants to put out a tribute video, but he insists that the like sending out this tribute video during a losing streak would sort of signal the wrong message. So let
Yeah.
us just wait. Let us just postpone it a little bit. So they wait for 1 week. I think they just won one game during that span. So after that one win, the team put out a tribute video to him saying, "Our God is going to retire within our franchise. He's going to retire at home." That was November 28th. So within 2 days, they had a game where their star player had just returned. He was sort of tasked to guarding a really hot 3-point shooter. So he had to exert his energy a lot on defense, which according to CP3 and basic common sense is utilizing his energy in a non-optimal way, right? You want your star player to be the offensive main player.
Yeah.
So using him mainly on defense just extracts a lot out of him. He has just come out of injury. They went on to lose that game as well. So he just mentioned or suggested that maybe the defensive cover should have been different. like the coverage. Someone else should have taken that coverage. He should have been using his energy in offense. So he just suggested that, but on the team flight back, the assistant coach again went and shouted at CP3 saying, how can you be able to change the defensive coverage in the game without telling us? We are the coaches. How dare you change all this? Chris Paul actually did not change anything. He just suggested the change, but he also proved that in the team flight by actually like checking in with the those players involved as well. He asked them with the assistant coach in presence, if I had told you to change the coverage or if I had just suggested the change, they just told, yeah, he just suggested it. We didn't change anything. It was all according to plan. But apparently, this was all that the team needed to boot him out. So they were on a road trip. They were like halfway across the country, and they were so impatient that they couldn't wait to come back to LA to send him home. They sent him home on December 2nd. They couldn't officially release him till the December 15th. And
15, yeah,
on
yes,
December
yes.
15th, he was officially released from the team. This is the story that has transpired so far. What do you think?
So actually, is this the end of the road for Chris Paul, or as the December 15, the season is over, any possibility for him to find a new team or
Season
a
is
trade?
not yet
Possibly. I
over,
mean, yeah,
actually.
not easily. The season is not yet over, so maybe he can find a new team. Maybe a trade. Is that a possibility for him? Or he, like, I'm gonna be spending time with my family. I'm gonna be turning there.
Exactly. I
What's
mean,
it
the
gonna be?
main reason he went to LA is because he's been away from his family for a lot, and his family is based in LA. So he wanted to return back home to be stay close with his family. That is why he was like, yeah, I could play this one more season. So there's always something in to be, thinking about, like because I don't know the other LA team, which are the Lakers. I don't think they would be having enough roster spots or enough need for a player of his type, because they already have an even older and even more of a general who's LeBron in their team. They also have Luka, so they don't really need CP3. But he could again find theoretical spots to land, but it all depends on him if he could stay away from his family for that half more season, maybe one last title push or something like that. But it's always terrible to see a franchise who you've given like your best years to,
Heart
who
and soul
you
too. Yeah.
heart and soul to be discarded in this way after you basically just announced you are retiring from the game, and this is going to be a last for her. And yeah, to be discarding your franchise legend in his last year is absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, it's more like a royal novelty book written. The climax is very poor. So I consider it as a Game of Thrones season 8.
Game of Thrones season
So
8, yeah, yeah.
so the ending that the Game of Thrones had, and Chris Paul, the way he's treated it is, where he's given his heart and soul to the franchise. Maybe that's how cruel the sport is. Sometimes it is not in your hands as well. So yeah, you have heard it here, guys. Another beautiful story about what happened, what transpired behind the scenes, and what has happened, you know, on the lines of Chris Paul and LA Clippers. So we conclude this episode with this note, and we'll come back to you guys with yet another episode of cricket, basketball, F1, and whatnot. Do ping in your comments. Do ping us your story of what your takes on how Clippers treated Chris Paul. And do like, share, and subscribe. We are signing off from Pitch Report. Vishnu and GS. Thank you.